Hey everybody, welcome to Southern Renaissance. It is so good to be on here, and as you can see, this is a little different. This is the first show I've done where I'm not on the road. So I'm right here in the comfort of TMFP studio, and I'm gonna not delay at all. Just welcome my next guest here, Mr. Tony Duncan, all the way from Texas.
All the way from Texas. How we doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm glad you're on here. I thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, we need a third Tony.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Well, but I was telling Cindy that I was going to make the corny joke about the T&T. We got the tone. we could do that. There's that corny joke, but we could do. But I guess it wouldn't be like that band Tony. We'd have to spell it differently, I guess.
All the bad dad jokes are coming in. I can feel
I know, man. We're getting old. We're just bringing them in. But hey, man, I wanted to bring you on here. I've done a lot of more highlighted like traditional kind of music and like roots music and stuff.
Right.
But you're a guy I know that really into synthesizers. So, and that kind of stuff, which is awesome. And that's part of the Southern music thing. It's not just country music and everything else. It's there's a lot of stuff going on in all kinds of genres. So
yeah, there's a lot to be said about different genres in different areas. I was looking at top 100 artists from Texas today, and a lot of that is not what you would consider, country or roots music or that kind of thing. There's a bunch of different rock and roll bands that have come out of this state.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Texas. And that's a big place. What part of Texas do you live in?
I am in East Texas. So I'm in Tyler, which is, an hour half away from Dallas, basically.
Okay.
More towards Louisiana. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. I'm from Alabama. I need like landmarks, directions for that. But yeah, man. Right. Well, are you originally from Texas?
Yes, I was born in Arlington, which is in between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Okay, cool. So that's I've not actually been to Texas. That's a place I need to go. So maybe one of these days I can come visit you, man. Do something in person one of these days.
Yeah, that would be great.
Hit the road.
There's a lot of good music that's going on, not necessarily here where I'm at so much, but in Dallas, definitely in Austin. That's always kind of been the history of Texas. Yeah. Austin's always been the hub.
Yeah, man.
Of music.
Yeah, it seems like I know the country thing, back to the country music, but the country thing where it's sort of, they branched off because they got tired of the status quo, and that like Willie Nelson and some of those people I know kind of got a thing going there. So that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Willie's probably the biggest Texas artist that there ever has been.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan probably being number 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. True.
People kind of forget that it's not all Waylon Willie and the Boys. There's other genres, which I love. Don't get me wrong, because I love some of that stuff. That old school country I really enjoy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's the dark wave and the Boys.
But, go ahead.
So what was it? Oh, you're good, man. What was it like growing up there, man? I know you were probably like a goth kid and kind of into a lot of different stuff that wasn't necessarily mainstream.
Right. I tried to, and I still do to some degree, to kind of have my own way away from the big crowds. I wasn't a football player. I wasn't, I didn't go to the homecomings, that kind of, I just was not into that. We were in my, kind of my little group of goth kids and goth friends and alternative kids, whatever you want to call us at that time. We were artists and musicians and deep thinkers. We weren't the norm for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, definitely. And I know that, I know that it's sometimes hard to be different. Not that I'm different. I mean, I fit in perfectly everything I did in a small country town. I never was weird at all, but no, that's all a lie. And
Well, I know
about
you
as
too well.
weird as it. Yeah, you know me,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, it's, it's a different experience for people like that. And that's kind of, that's a big part of why I've been doing this. It's a Southern thing, and I'm including everyone to the table because everybody is closer to the same, I think, than they are different. But it's one of those things where people are like that here, and it's not just like in the North or the West Coast. There's all different kinds of people liking different things, doing different things.
Right.
So I want people to know that. And, even when it's sort of progressive stuff, we get like music, we give it our own flavor. There's still sort of a Southern flavor. It's a little tangier.
Right.
It's like
good barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it's drizzled with molasses.
My music, it's not influenced by anything country in any way of the imagination as far as sound goes.
Yeah.
But as far as using inspiration of other musicians that may be country or alternative country, and I'm going to do a shout out in a second.
Okay.
That inspire me. It's inspiration doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sound like somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. You can take their attitude or their way. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but you could take their drive and put it into your own stuff.
Yeah, man. I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
My favorite band from Texas, and I think the most prolific band that has come out of the state in 30 years are the Old 97s.
Yeah, you've talked about them before. I've heard of them. Man.
Right.
They sound like a good band.
They came out of Dallas, and there's such creatively great writing. Number one, the music's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. It's alternative country.
Okay.
You can hear these rockabilly influences and some country influences, but if you get Rhett Miller's lyrical content and writing is absolutely fantastic. He's done a couple books too, children's books of poems. Oh, cool. Really cool. Really cool
nice.
Stuff. Yeah.
That's cool, man. I love that. Just people that are that creative, that kind of have their own thing. And that to me, that really separates a lot of bands that just have good lyrics. And, you can write a good song, but if there's no substance, I mean, it can be fun, but yeah, it's
right.
When you add that substance, when you add that substance to it, it really makes something different. But
yeah, I've always been a sucker for good, well thought out play on word lyrics, very Lennon-like too.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what draws me in. But as I was saying, so those guys are from Dallas. They're our age, they're in their 50s. I grew up watching them. I was still in high school when I first saw Rhett Miller play in a little bitty club in Dallas, and I watched them evolve. But we're guys just like you. We come from the same place. If we can do it, so can you. That's kind of my whole draw of basing a lot of inspiration, not sounding like them, but drawing from their energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean. So you're talking about more just DIY. It's almost like a punk thing. Like, hey, no, we're going to do it. I think a lot of people from small towns, and I've talked about to people about this before. It's like this scene doesn't exist, so I'm going to create it because I'm just going to do it myself.
Right. I know. With you did the rockabilly thing with the synthesizers, and it's absolutely brilliant because nobody's doing that. And that's what I love. That's the things that I love. I love stuff that people are doing and bringing something new to the table.
Yeah, man. Well, the thing about some of that, I love roots music and of course all that kind of stuff, obviously. But sometimes if you're playing a lot of gigs, you can kind of become background music. but sometimes I'm too
Sure.
artsy for my own good. I'm like, all right, let's shake this up. Let's play some traditional country on the first set, and then the second set, let's play skating rink music. Like what? It's just good. I love that visceral reaction, and sometimes
What?
I just want that. Yeah, exactly. It's everything with me is a social experiment, I think. But yeah,
There's
man,
nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. It's just it's interesting to me, human nature and how we react to things.
Right.
Well, the name of your music project is Rancid Poets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's so it's a lot of, we were just talking about that, but it's a lot of synth type based music, right?
Right.
So
yeah, I'm doing, and I don't even know how it's its own genre. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
that's
I
cool.
have no idea. It's a lo-fi dystopian slowcore industrial. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking like well, I don't know. It's almost
very influenced by Pat Boone.
Very much so. And Jim Neighbors.
Jim Neighbors. I love some of his weirds. Sorry, I get off.
Yeah, he's an oddball. It's kind of reminiscent of the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man.
It's kind of dark, and it's kind of, but I'm making it to be background music, but not necessarily.
I got you.
When you're listening to it, it's great in the background to work to, or study, relax, whatever. Then when you put the headphones on, you find out that there's a lot more going on under the hood than just background music.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's that ear candy, those little touches that producers and they put those little things right underneath there. You're like, you listen to something again, you're like, wait, what was that? I don't remember that sheep being in the background.
Right.
It was there.
Right. I got a lot going on, and you got to really listen if you want to find it.
I know, man. When I first started messing with those synthesizers, I got carried away because I had so much control. Keep adding layers. I had to limit myself because I was getting crazy with it. It becomes mush after a while if I kept on.
I've learned the hard way that sometimes less is definitely better.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But
because that's what you want to do. You just want to be like, oh, I want this big layer of sound. And then you go back and you listen to it like, this is crap. So, oh yeah. What I do actually in my writing process, what I find is that I'm putting a bunch of stuff in, and inevitably at some point, for most tracks, not all of them, some tracks just right away.
Oh yeah.
These are great. But I'm pulling out stuff as I go along.
Sure.
Because I'll be like, this idea doesn't work here, or this idea doesn't work, with this. And I'm pulling out stuff more than likely to make it better.
Yeah, man. Well, it seems like it's a different way of working too, like with sitting in a room with a band, more traditional type band. It's
right.
You're almost writing, or the way I was anyway, you can write as you go. And then, like you say, sort of interchange stuff and be like, okay, that works. That doesn't work.
Right. I had the other thing, with my writing partner, with it's called Electronaut, which is definitely a Depeche Mode synth wave kind of feel. And there is something to be said with working with a partner as well, or with other band members. It teaches you compromise.
Oh yeah.
And it also teaches you do what's best for the song.
Oh, so true, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Do what's best for the song. And having a writing partner it's great to have somebody to bounce this off of. Hey, how does this sound? How does this sound? Versus just doing it on your own.
Yep.
So there's both ways have a good balance of I lost my train of thought. But both ways,
I know what you mean.
Have equal value.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. It's just a different way of working, I think. And like I tell people, the synth stuff triggers a different part of my brain. It's like
Right.
some of the rock and roll is more visceral, but then the sometimes the synth stuff, it's like more up here.
Right.
I think it can be both, but you know what I mean. Like I
I
think
know.
Depeche Mode is a good example. It's like just their songs are good and they fit really in any genre, and it's
Right.
just good songwriting.
Exactly. The underlying songwriting is good over, then you get the production side of it.
Oh yeah,
Because Depeche Mode songs will still translate to just straight up piano and still
exactly.
sound, the songwriting still sounds good.
Yep.
Well, they're earlier stuff anyways.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess like we were saying, once you start layering some stuff on there, it may not have the same vibe, I guess, if you strip it down too far. But man, I know a lot of their songs for sure. You
Right.
can just play them with an acoustic guitar, or like you say, a piano, still totally translates.
And it totally translates.
And so I know you got multiple synths. What synths? That's hard to say really quickly, or it is for me.
Say it 3 times fast.
Maybe not most people, but synth. That's hard.
Yeah.
It's sibilance. But yeah, well, what's your
synthesizer?
Yes. Yeah. Could be worse, I guess.
What's the pink Hanna-Barbera character? The lion.
Synthesizer. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what character that is. It's like a sort of a tiger or a lion or something.
Yeah. Oh shoot.
Yeah.
I should know this because I know more.
I know, man.
Than I know what to do
know
with
it too. I've forgotten, but
it's not Sylvester Stallone. Oh
no. That'd be interesting if he talked like that, though.
That would be funny.
Change the Rocky movies a lot.
I'm not even going there.
Right. Well, I know you got multiple synth. I'm adding syllables in there, but which one is your favorite right now that you're really enjoying playing?
Now, currently? I love everything I got to some degree, one reason or another. And pretty much I use everything I got. Over on this side, yeah, that side. There's a couple you can't see, but
now, wait.
Right now is the Arturia Mini Freak.
Nice. Yeah. I love a lot of that Arturia stuff is really cool. And they approach it differently. It's like they use some of the old school kind of things, but then they put some more player friendly type features on there, I think.
And then I have the Micro Freak on this side, the one that came out first, the smaller one.
Yeah. Those are fun, man.
And both of these synthesizers have this quality about them that is just different from everything else that I've got.
That's cool.
One thing if we're going to talk about like Arturia is that they continue to evolve.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
The products are always updating something. They're always giving you something new with something that you own already.
Yeah.
Firmware updates are all the time. And it's nice to see a synthesizer company that does that versus I have an M Audio Venom over here.
Yeah.
The big white beast.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, M Audio just said, we're done even messing with this. So there's never anything that adds value to it because it's already been spoken for. We're going to drop all of it, all of our support for this thing.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that Arturia does really well is stays on top of it. And Novation to some degree.
Oh yeah. Novation makes great stuff.
And I feel like
the commercial
reading between the lines, Novation's been posting a lot of questions on Facebook as of recently.
Getting a little feedback.
So I feel, and I could be 100% off on this, something's coming.
Yeah.
They're asking questions for a reason. They don't just random, hey, let's just put this out there.
Definitely.
Something new's coming.
Oh yeah, man. I wouldn't be surprised. And it's I'm sure it's a constant battle because there's so many cool products out there. Like it's kind of like what you were saying. I'm an MPC head, so I love those things. And it's kind of like
Right.
they're constantly doing updates too. So I
Exactly.
can appreciate that. So most
Yeah.
definitely. Well, I know you were talking about we were talking about Depeche Mode and some of the other stuff. What are some other synth artists that sort of have influenced you?
Synth artists? Well,
Yeah.
quite a few actually. There's a whole list. You know, we'll go back to that, being the goth kid and the one that kind of wanted to stand out and wanted, listen to something different. Absolutely. Skinny Puppy was absolutely an influence in what I did.
I was about to say, man, I saw you, the old picture of you wearing the Skinny Puppy shirt. So
Yeah. With the limited spikes and the small
man.
ones, the little small ones.
Yeah.
But that the hair didn't last long.
I hear you. I know mine's going too, man.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my influences. Again, I may not sound like them, but I draw on their energy.
Yeah.
And I use little tricks and stuff of theirs too.
Absolutely. Man.
Early Duran Duran. Definitely the first two albums were a huge influence on not just music, not just my sound by any means, my opening my awareness to other types of music and to synthesizers and to sounds. I mean, if you look at Rio, just their massive album.
Oh yeah.
There's so much going on, and the sounds and the experimentation and just the way they did things. And it's an album that still holds up today.
I think you're right, man.
It still holds up, and it still sounds good, and it still sounds fresh, even though you've heard the songs a zillion freaking times. It still sounds good.
Yeah,
that was a big one for me.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Well, I think we take it for granted sometimes. These artists like that, you're so used to hearing it that, man, in its day, it was like, wow, that is really different and interesting. So
yeah, it was very groundbreaking at the time. Kraftwerk.
Oh man, I love Kraftwerk so much. That's like one of my favorite artists of all time.
Yeah, and once again, I don't sound like them by any means, but I still can pull from them their influence, and they're the Beatles of electronic world.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, I think
they really are.
Man.
I mean, they really started techno. If they want to take, really go back and look at it. I mean, all the Detroit artists in the early '80s were pulling their sounds and their vibe and everything from Kraftwerk.
Yeah,
Kraftwerk records. And they're also sampling Kraftwerk too. So
yeah. And then they even had a hand in the early like b-boy and breakdancing culture and all that stuff.
Yeah,
with,
very much so.
Africa Bambaataa and all those early stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hip hop thing.
Definitely an influence of mine. And the thing with Kraftwerk is they're so simple, but at the same time, it's so complex. You ever tried to imitate a Kraftwerk song?
Oh, it's really difficult.
It's hard.
Man. Yeah,
I've tried to get their sound just doing it myself, and it's not easy.
Yeah. Well, just the way it was like the band, the whole band, the concept and everything of the band is an art project. It's like, okay,
very much.
We're going to go against the rock star kind of look here, and we're going to pretend like we're robots,
right?
And we're going to go with this whole shtick, but then also we're going to do groundbreaking music that hasn't been done before, and try to sort of push the envelope. Just brilliant, man. Just
yeah.
Only that could come from Germany.
Right. And they did it very well.
Yeah, man.
I think it was very well played. Just like you said, the look, the music, everything that they did had purpose.
Yeah. And they were so on the edge there that they sort of paved the way for so many other artists. Like you say, it's like, if you play electronic music, you've been influenced by Kraftwerk in some indirect way or something. It's like you say, that's a great analogy with the Beatles, or rockabilly. Like if we're playing rock, then it's in there somewhere. It's came down from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
It's like, I mean, if you're doing rockabilly and you weren't influenced by Hank Williams, then, you know.
Yeah, exactly, man. I love going back pre-rockabilly. A lot of that stuff sounds like jump blues. Wynonie Harris, one of my favorite artists, the jump blues. And, you know, like Hank Williams, of course, just earlier country. It's directly represented and then it melts together to create that rock and roll. But it's sort of, it has that timeline, and people forget about the timeline that this influenced this and this and this.
I mean, we're definitely going to go back to, you know, African-American rhythm and blues.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely.
You know, which influence country, which influence rock and roll. It's all tied together.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
So, you know, and then you take that like kind of rockabilly sound and that country sound, and then the Brits get a hold of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man.
And then the Brits make Skipple, you know, their version of you know, American country rock or rockabilly at the time. And then you change it and then it just transforms. So everything influences each other.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
I think it influences more than people actually realize, unless you're
for sure.
Yeah. Unless you're like into music, like some of us are, you learn all this stuff and you just thrive on learning the history and how things were and are and blah, blah, blah. But
yeah, man. And I think it's great your kind of attitude towards it. Like you're making synth music, but you have all these other influences. I mean, I'm influenced by 1980s wrestling interviews. I put that in my music. You know, like you can be influenced by a lot of things. Yeah. Well, Dusty Rhodes is my he's just, you know, had that charisma. And yeah, man. So it's a beautiful thing. Well, how do you write and record your music generally, as far as that goes, your process?
It's a couple different ways. I mean, I'm open to you know, whatever works. Like I said, you got to be, it's being open-minded to try different things.
Definitely.
With the Rancid Poets stuff, honestly, I'll tell you how it started. Is that I had this track that I was working on with my Electronaut stuff with my writing partner, Marshall Potter, out of Florida. And we had, you know, a bunch of songs. And I had this one. I'm sorry?
I just said Florida man.
Yeah. Another Southern boy.
Yeah.
But I had this one track that didn't really match anything else. It was like, this isn't synthwave. This isn't synth pop. This isn't kind of our sound. It was very, very sampled and very, I don't know. It was electronic music. I mean, at its core. And I thought, well, I can do something with this. So the initial idea, and this is funny, was, okay, I'm going to make a fake band.
Yeah.
Right. This is a very Beatles and kind of, and XTC kind of thing. I'm going to make this fake band.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to put it out there. I'm not going to tell anybody that it's actually me. It's a pseudonym. You know, this is a pseudonym.
Cool. Yeah, man.
You know, and so I took and I used an app. It's called Groovebox, I believe, by Novation, or what was X Novation.
Okay.
It's been sold and somebody else is running it, but I think
it always happens.
Yeah. I think they're all connected. Well, in this app, you have the option to export MIDI files and audio files, right?
Okay.
So I thought, okay, let's do this. Let's pick a tempo. Let's pick a key, and then let's just go full on random. So I just started pushing buttons, right?
Yeah.
I started pushing buttons. I think, okay, this. And then I had the ability to export it and then bring it into Ableton.
Okay.
So I can mix and match what I was doing from what was coming out of the app. And then I could process it that way. I can move this around. I can move this around. I can move this around. So that's kind of how the whole Rancid Poets thing started.
Cool.
Is that the whole album is made from random bits and pieces.
I got you.
And then put together. And I thought that was a really cool way of working.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It's sort of a copy and cut and paste kind of almost like I'm trying to think of what artist did that. I know David Bowie kind of did that with certain lyrics and stuff. He would kind of analog with bits of paper.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. And you scramble them around and
yeah.
So it was kind of like that, Then obviously I played on top of whatever bass that I had, because some of my stuff is programmed, some of my stuff is samples, some of my stuff is me playing hardware. It's definitely a hodgepodge of different ways of working. I don't want to be stagnant and always just in the box.
Yeah, I could understand.
And I'm not good enough to like straight up play this. So some of it has to be that way.
Oh,
I'm no virtuoso. I can play a solo. I can play chords and things like that, but I'm no, I'm not Billy Joel.
Hey man, like I tell people, it's not sports. It's about expression. And if you get an expression across and, that's the important thing.
Right.
That's
it's all about the final result.
Yeah,
of what
definitely.
we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
So that kind of spawned, a second, a third, a fourth, and it kind of really spawned a sound. And I've kind of come into my own sound finally, where I know what I want to sound like. I know what to do. But I'm constantly learning, and those of you out there that are musicians, always learn. Don't stop learning, because you could always get better.
For sure. Yep. That is no joke, but I like the way it's ironic because, you're doing synthesizer music, but it's developing organically, I think is what your vibe is. And I appreciate that so much because I try not to force things. I like to let it just happen the way it's supposed to. And that seems to be the best material. So I think that's what you're kind of tapping into, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And when it's not working, step away.
Yeah.
And come back.
Step away from the synthesizer.
Yeah, well, you got to step away from it and come back to it with fresh ears.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Well, I met you in the Sobriety and Synthesizers group of all things on Facebook. There's a group there, I guess, and you're an admin and one of
I am the creator.
The creator and the creator. Like when you say that, it makes me think a little. I am the creator and the innovator of rock. You're humble, but it was funny. It just I hear these little phrases, and it's all related to Little Richard. But anyway, yeah, man, I met you on there, and there's lots of bad things about the internet, but that is one of the cool things about the internet, because if it weren't for the internet, like, we're talking right now, I wouldn't have met a lot of awesome people that I know now without having that, tool to talk to these people that had common interest and things like that. So I think it's an awesome group. One of my favorite groups of all time.
Oh,
because I am into synthesizers and sobriety.
Right.
So that leads me on to the next thing. I know you've been sober over 13 years now, 13 right?
Years,
is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I lose
man.
Count. I forget.
I know, man. I know it's a long time, but it's great and highly commendable, man. Well, tell me a little, if you don't mind, tell me a little journey about your sobriety, how that came to be.
It's weird.
Okay. I love weird.
It's weird. It's really, and people are going to think the dude is still high. And I might
think that about me.
I don't know.
I'm the feeling.
Right. I think that's a good thing. Shock value. Make them think that
that's
you're,
right.
whatever. that you're, crazy.
It's all natural.
Right. I started using at about 16, give or take.
Okay.
Mostly just weed, pot. I wasn't real big on alcohol at all. It was just like, this is headache in the morning. I don't like this at all. But, things change.
Sure.
And I continued to use, and became, it opened up. Well, LSD was probably the next level of, of using something.
Gotcha.
And I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. But it became to where there was no more control.
Yeah.
And so once there's no more control, it controls you. And that can go for anything. This is, we speak as sober people, but this is, we're talking whether it's addiction to addiction.
Sure.
Really, when you break it all down. It can be girls, it can be gambling, it can be whatever it is. Once it grabs a hold and you can't live without it, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I agree, man. So, I think that's a great way to put it.
Over the years, I got married. I had children, so the drugs kind of went away, but the alcohol took its place. And excuse me. And then it kind of crept back in to where it's taking Adderall, hydrocodone,
okay,
and alcohol every day.
Wow. Okay.
Every day. Like we're talking, maybe one Adderall, which is, it's methamphetamine.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was piling painkillers on top.
Oh yeah.
And then alcohol to finally come down in the middle of the night to sleep. And one night I was laying in bed and I was watching TV, and it had subtitles. And my deceased grandmother came up in those subtitles and told me, enough is enough. You need to change. Now, was that in my head because I was out of it? Maybe. I don't know. But what I do know is I went into rehab 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back since.
That's awesome, man.
And, it's the best thing I ever did.
Yep. Same. I'm a little over 9 years
right
now, thankfully, sober. So, yeah, I think it's an important thing to talk about. I know a lot of this show, it's been goofy and silly, but I think things like this are really important to talk about because a lot of people deal with it, man. And yeah, and it doesn't have a, anybody can have that issue. It's not a poor people problem or rich people. Everybody can have that issue. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man.
And I was, talking to some friends that I met from the group that I love dearly. And I couldn't go a day without speaking to them in some way or another. But,
yeah, man.
We were talking about how the addict brain works, and it's maddening. And it's a replay over and over and over and over when issues come up. And it's still that way for me. But I found another, there's another way to deal with it besides using again. This is my way. Yeah.
That was actually my next question. How important has music been in your journey? I had to keep using the corny journey
journey.
Sounds like self-help, but it is self-help, but
It is,
but in a real way. But yeah, man, like that's me. You know, music has always been there. It's been the constant in my life, and I feel like it can be so healing. And so that's awesome.
It's definitely a big part of me staying sober. And it's, I don't know how much, you watch Pink Floyd interviews and things like that. David Gilmour says that playing his guitar is the way he communicates. It's the way he talks, the way he speaks.
I got you.
And this is very much of that nature. This is the way I know how to communicate and get whatever it is I'm dealing with out.
That's good. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's part of it too. When you live in your head all the time, it just cycles and it just keeps
Very
going in your head. But then when you have an outlet like that, a creative outlet, you get it out of your system, like what you're saying. I call it my exorcism.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So
as long as your head doesn't start spinning and you start spewing out green stuff, we good.
It happens sometimes, but I got a couple of C clamps. So I'll just clamp my head down, and that helps pretty well. So
fair enough.
Just American ingenuity.
Right.
But, well, so obviously music has been one of your main things that's kept you sober. What is there some other stuff, like I know like family and things like that can be helpful, just to have a support like the group that you were just talking about?
Definitely my wife. And she's an inspiration to me every day.
That's awesome.
There may be some days that I don't show it or it's, not top of mind, but she's definitely been a major part of me being the way that I am today. Family's great. I don't know what I'd do without my parents sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily speak about the sobriety part very much. It doesn't really ever come up in conversation. But, I don't know where we'd be without them.
Yeah, man. So it's still important, I think. And I the older I get, the more I realize the value of family. And that's one of the reasons I enjoyed my day job up there at Sweetwater. It was awesome, right. But, I missed my family, and, I felt like I've just tried to do kind of my, what my, instinct tells me to do. And I felt like I needed to be home with my family. So that's one of the reasons I'm back here.
Right.
Part of it, I was like, I got to move closer to Tony Duncan so we can be the T&T force that we are.
So had you stayed and been at the right time, I lived in Illinois, so it wasn't that far.
Oh,
I lived there for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
What were you doing there, man?
I was going to go back to school at the time. I was going to go to the Art Institute and do graphic design. And my wife at the time got pregnant. So I thought, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to provide and try to go to school and such and such? So I didn't go to school.
Gotcha.
And I ended up, working as a sous chef and then eventually executive chef of a restaurant. But
yeah, man, I was going to ask you about that. I know you've been doing that for a while, the chef thing.
Yes, cool. Currently I have stopped doing the chef thing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And I'm going to school for graphic design.
Graphic design. Nice, man.
Kind of. I'm doing user experience design in user interface design.
Okay. So, hey, that's an important thing, man. More and more every day.
So the plan is to get in with either some of the bigger virtual instrument makers like, Native Instruments or Arturia, Cherry Audio, some of those guys, and start helping them design virtual instruments.
That'd be awesome, man.
That's the goal. That's the end goal. That
that's a
may
good
or may
goal,
not
man.
happen. Yeah, but so I'm going to school for that. I'm not in the
That's
food service
awesome.
business anymore.
I got you. So
Because that will wear you down.
Shouldn't have said anything. I was just trying to
No, I don't
say
mind.
you're so well-rounded, man. Like you're multi-talented is what I was getting at.
Yeah, I'm not talented. It's been hard work. That's how I've been. I'm not talented, but talent's given. I've worked for every damn thing that I've got.
Yeah, I know you're definitely a hard worker. So
I'm not trying to, I'm just telling, people out there, work hard.
Yeah,
Eyes on the
absolutely.
prize, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. And many times I think people that succeed, they might succeed more than, and what is success anyway, but that's another story. But just putting in the work is key. That's like agreeing with what you're saying. That's really more than talent. Just doing the work every day.
Success is here.
Yeah.
And here.
Yeah.
Not somebody else's.
Yeah.
Somebody else's idea of my success is their own deal.
Exactly. Yep.
Success
absolutely,
is in the heart.
Man. I agree. As long as you got
a man has to pay his bills too.
Yeah, that too. And then there's that thing. Yeah.
Right.
As I sit here without a day job currently.
Right. Yeah, you'll get there.
Yeah, man. But yeah, absolutely. That's it's just one of those things. I feel like, and you just roll with things, and I feel like things happen for a reason, and you just sort of you just let things be, let it be. You let it do what it's going to do, and you don't. I feel like we worry so much about the future that it's like a waste of energy, because many times we're worrying about nothing.
It can be, and I wasted many, many years worrying about the future. What if, or how is it, or why isn't this happening, or it's not happening because I didn't make it happen.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That was a hard lesson to learn. Like, why is so much crap coming down on me? Because, and then it's that we go back to the addict brain that it just sits there and repeats over and over and over until it drives you nuts. But it took me a while to realize, well, only person that's going to change it is me. Not you, not your next door neighbor. We all have the ability to change ourselves. And yourself is the only one that's going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Because ain't nobody going to do it for you.
That's so true, man. Yep. And you can put blame on other people. And I mean, there's things I'm sure that could happen in your life that aren't your fault, obviously, but we can always try to, move forward the best we can and try to look at things positively. I don't want to be toxic positive, pretend like bad things don't exist, but, try to make the most of what you have and appreciate things.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not naive to the world by any means.
Yeah.
Of how things go. But if I can make a difference in my own life, I'm going to be the one doing it more than likely. Or a very close-knit group of friends and family that can help you along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, is there anything specific that you can think of that really that you could give advice to someone that is trying to get sober, or just, anything that would be of help to that?
First and foremost, I think, is there's a couple parts, but you got to reach out. Don't do it alone. Doing it alone is probably the worst idea you'll ever have in your life. You have to communicate. Absolutely have to communicate. Second of all is just stop doing it. Get that idea out of your head that, that has to be that every day. In that you get this imposter syndrome sometimes where I'm talking about this stuff and I stop and realize, like, well, I was the same exact way of what I just talked about.
Yeah.
But, you seek help. Nobody's going to, let me figure out how to say this. Nobody's going to quit what they're doing until they're ready.
Yeah.
You can have mom, dad, friends, family do come, intervention, whatever the case may be. Talk about, you ain't doing nothing until you're ready.
Yep. For sure.
Yep. Or you're absolutely forced to do so.
Yeah.
But with jail or whatever, depending on how far down the road you go,
Yeah.
You and I have talked about this.
Oh yeah,
before.
Man. Definitely. And it's one of those things. I think that ultimately I hated accepting help from people. I don't like that. I'm like, I'll do it myself. I still feel that way. Exactly. Yeah. But ultimately that was the hack, as the cool kids say, that helping people, accepting help is what keeps me sober, because it changes things. And when you're helping others, it just creates a cycle, a positive cycle.
Right.
And I've learned that, man. And that's what I tell everybody. Just, accept help when you need it, and then help others when you can. Right. And that's what seems to work.
What's really weird is that we're in that mindset of not wanting help, but there's no way you can get around it.
Yeah. So true, man. As a human being.
Yeah. There's so many things in the addict mind that I still can't let go of, but I'm not using to deal with it. I'm doing something else to deal with issues. I think that's a big accomplishment for anybody to do, is to take all those things and go a different direction.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think even when you think about people helping each other, even in the history of being human, there were people that gathered as tribes, and they helped each other. So it's been going on for a long time, and that's how humanity has existed. Man, we are getting so deep right now.
Yeah, I love getting deep.
It's like the other show. Some of the other shows were like goofy, and then it's like, bam. No, we're bringing you some reality right here.
Reality.
I love it though, man. It's so important. And I really, it's close to my heart. And I know I was in a dark place, and I'm so thankful to be sober, so it's a really good thing. And, none of us are perfect. And I think it's just good to be open about it, because then people that may be going through that, they're like, okay, this can be done. It's not a trick. It's just something you have to work on.
And and that being said, I'm always available for people that are, that need to talk about it. I've always been open. My door's been open 24/7. Somebody's struggling and you need to get it off your chest or whatever. I've always been able to at least try to help communicate, Ultimately getting sober is, it's up to you.
Absolutely.
I've told people that. I said, I can't do it for you.
Yeah.
Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it on your own. But don't go without help.
Yep. Yep.
Seek those out that have been there and done that, and learn from that.
For sure, man.
That's really what it's kind of all about.
Well, this has been a very important topic, and, it's close to my heart, like I say, but as far as you got any new music projects or things you're working on currently?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So I just put out I don't even know how many albums I have now. 6, 7. I don't even remember. Some are better than others, not gonna lie. This last one's pretty good.
Cool.
Pretty good. I'm doing a remix for an artist named Ghostbird. His name is Robert, out of the UK. I'm doing a remix for his album that's coming out soon.
Cool.
It turned out really, really nice. I'm very happy with it. I've got another remix coming from another artist that I don't know that I can even talk about at this point. So there's that, and I'll let you know when that happens.
Okay, nice. So it's the Rolling Stones, right?
It is not the Stones.
That's awesome.
It is not the Stones.
That's another cool thing about the whole electronic thing and kind of scene. It's these remixes are really interesting and just a different way of creative medium that didn't really exist a few years back or so.
Well, you got, 20 years, 30 years, what?
Something like that.
It certainly didn't exist in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, that's true.
Remix
I think back then, I think of that band, the Silver Apples. You ever heard them?
Yes.
They just had the modulators, and they didn't really have a synth.
This weird setup. Yeah, and he
But-
went on to do something else. He was part of was another band. I can't remember now. Oh crap. But he went on to do, it was another kind of influential electronic thing. It might have been what is it called? The San Francisco Tape Foundation or something, that this crazy like tape stuff. All this stuff with synthesizers and tapes, and this is really early on. So we're talking late 60s.
Yeah, man.
Just to blow your mind. It's like, oh, wow,
really
this is
cutting
crazy.
edge stuff, like
Delia
Derbyshire and some of those people. And it's amazing how many women were really groundbreaking. And it's not amazing, I guess, but it's notable that so many women were such innovators in the synth world.
Yeah,
back in the day.
It's very, and kind of the synth world. There's a lot of female artists now.
Yeah, man.
But it was kind of a man's game, really. You don't find a whole lot of girls that were, interested in that. It was, we're looking at popular music, I guess.
Yeah.
Or when we're talking in your small groups of folks that most of synthesizer nerds are all dudes.
It's like dudes. Dungeons, Dragons, and stuff.
Very much.
I know some folks are so deep into synthesizers, they're just really, it's like their brain, it just works differently, which is a beautiful thing. Right. It takes all kinds, but I mean, especially if you're messing with those old synths that sound, that's so hard to say, man. That had they're so much more user friendly, it seems like. But back in the day, when you had all the like MIDI routing and you had to get in there, you didn't have Windows, you had to use all the MS DOS and floppy disks and stuff.
Oof, yeah,
gives me a headache.
But the analog synths are very much hands on today.
Oh yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it.
It's so much to learn.
So organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Very. I don't have. What do I have that's analog? Oh, the base station, Novation base station.
Oh yeah. That's a great synth, man.
The mini log.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool.
I think that's the only two. Well, I've got a Behringer Crave and a Neutron for modular stuff. I'm just deciding if that's modular route is for me. I'm not 100% sold on it.
Yeah, I think modular is awesome, but I'm more of a songwriter, so I find that I spend so much time doing sound design, it takes away from my songwriting, and that's just the way my brain works. That I'm a preset guy. I might tweak it, but it's fun to get hands on. But hit that preset. And
you got to look at the guys that are designing presets today for some of this stuff are incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't your DX7 freaking crappy sounding electric piano preset. I can't
Star Trek: The Next Generation soundtrack.
Right.
Sound busting in my nerd stuff.
But these guys are coming up with really, really great usable presets. And I have no problem using a preset.
Yeah.
Or taking that and tweaking it to the way I like it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You made a point a minute ago, and I forgot what I was going to say about it.
Yeah, man.
I don't remember now.
Oh, well, if you think about it, just holler at me. But
this is what 52 years does to you.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I'll be 47 on the 20th, and I'm already just a quick decline. I'm just decaying before you as we speak.
Right. I thought you looked kind of funky.
Yeah, man. You see the corrosion, this corrosion.
Right.
Sisters of Mercy reference.
Yeah. It's a lot grayer than it used to be. Believe me.
Oh yeah, man. But hey, Tony, it's good. It's so weird to say Tony and not be talking. Yeah, yeah.
It is. It's odd.
It's odd, but I think there's not a lot of Tonys around here, so it's not too bad. But yeah, it's just weird to say your name to someone else. I don't know why, but maybe if I was in New York, Tony.
Yo, hey, Tony, what's the matter with you?
Yeah. It's terrible. Every time I try to do a fake New York accent, it's just like a lame kind of Italian accent.
Yeah, it ain't too hard.
Yeah.
It ain't hard at all. Nah.
But
it's all about the practice.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey man, I really appreciate you doing this, man. And this has been great because I got to test my new system here of doing the thing straight from the TMFP studios because there's a lot of people I want to talk to that I may not be able to jet set over
right
to see them. But this is great. And yeah, man, is there any certain way we can find your stuff online? Like your music or any other projects?
Yeah, you can look up Rancid Poets on all the streaming services, all the major ones.
Okay.
Maybe when you post this, we'll put a link somewhere and then go from there. I have a YouTube channel as well. It's called the Sober Synthesist. As we go, try saying that one. Try saying synthesis.
That's a lot of alliteration.
Right. I'm active there. I'm not super active due to a lack of time right now.
I know how it is, man.
Going to school and working, and things have been kind of crazy. But
sure,
you can find me there too. And you're on there, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You interviewed me that time. That was really cool, man.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a fun interview.
Yeah, I'm always goofy. See, that's the thing. I've had to be play the straight man. I'm so used to being able to be a clown. Somebody interviews me, it's like you can just say whatever. But
right.
But yeah, man. Well, hey, it's been awesome to have you on here, man. And it was great to nerd out on the synthesizer stuff. I love it, man. I love the gear.
Right, me too.
Yeah,
and I appreciate you letting me come on. I do.
Absolutely, man.
I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah. Well, like I say, there's certain people in my life that I know, and I'm always thinking, man, I got to get them on there. And you were one of them. So I'm glad we made this work out, man.
Yeah.
But hey, I appreciate you being on. And that's this episode of Southern Renaissance. Y'all have a good one.